Hello and a good morning, good afternoon and a very good evening to you, the good and wonderful people of the tube. Hope today, hope feeling grand and all is well in your world. This is my third attempt now doing this intro because I keep running away with myself as I have tendency to do when I talk. It's never a good thing when I have to talk because I just waffle and tangent and go everywhere. And this is my third attempt now to keep this intro kind of short. So the last two attempts have been ridiculous. So we're going to try this again and hope that we can get it kind of a bit more condensed. People of the tube, today we're looking at this. The Boss Amp and Cabinet IR2 pedal amp thing of heaven. I love this thing so much. This has just blown my mind. I have plans for this pedal, and I am so thankful. I reached out to Boss and said, "Boss, is it possible for me to, get my disgusting hands on one of those things?" And Boss said, and I love you, Boss. Thank you so much indeed. I am so grateful, and holy hell, do I love this thing. Absolutely love it. So before I go over the specs and whatnot, I do have one qualm with it, which I'll get to in a bit. There's one negative point for me, and I'll get to that in a sec. Well, kind of two, but I'll get to that in a sec. I'm not really that bothered about the other one. It's not as much a problem for me. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, let's talk about the intro jam first. What are you hearing? So the intro jam, people of the tube, is my pedal board coming straight in here into the IR2. And then from the output of the IR2, the mono output, it's going straight into the Zoom Q8 camera, which I do all my videos on. And I was monitoring it with headphones out of the headphone monitor socket on the Zoom. This room was dead quiet for that entire time. Obviously, you could hear my... If I was to turn just the room mic on, what you would hear, it'd be hysterical. Because it was just the acoustic electric guitar, Mr. White, just acoustically. So... everything was in headphones. Everything was in headphones. No amps are on, nothing. And it sounded amazing. And I always test these things, people tube, with these really crappy, cheap Samsung, cheapo, free with the phone earbud things. You saw it hanging out my head. I always think if headphone things like this and the New X and that lot, sound good through crappy little Samsung headphones like that crackle and fizz, then they're going to sound even better when you run them through flat response speakers, studio monitors, whatever. They're going to sound amazing. And just going back and listening back to the intro jam, I am not disappointed. I love the way this sounds. I really want this as a backup thing for live. And also, if I had to do a fly gig, say I had to go and fly somewhere, and say the trio was doing a gig in Germany or whatever, and we had to fly, we couldn't, for whatever reason, drive. I'd prefer to drive because I love driving. That's me. But if I had to, go there and it was you can't take your amp and this, that, and the other. Pedalboard that done. Guitar, obviously. But I would just plug that into the PA and just have it on a monitor. Or listen to it through the PA or whatever I could. Because, oh my god, does it sound good. Well, I say that now. At the end of the video, people, I'm going to set up a PA and we're going to plug it through my PA system. And we'll see what it sounds like through a PA. Because at this point in time, I've only used it with headphones and obviously recording. And it sounds amazing. Not only does it sound amazing with pedals, it sounds amazing when you plug straight into it. Which is what we're going to get into next. Anyway, before we do that, let's talk about what we've got on here. So, on this right side here, you've got I think it's 11 different amp types, ranging from clean to kind of overdriven things to full distortion things. They're kind of named. You've got a Soldano, Brownmo, which is obviously high, modded Plexi. You've got Plexi, Crunch, Tweed, Twin. Personally, I don't think you want to approach this pedal thinking that oh, that's going to sound like a Fender Twin or that's going to sound like a Plexi. If you like the sound of it, you like the sound of it. You just don't need to kind of associate. I think it's dangerous. I reckon it should just be called clean, overdrive, distortion, more distortion, and that'd be it. But these things are amazing. I actually do have a picture where it tells you what all the amp things are, if I can get to it without pressing the wrong app. So let's go through it quickly. So I've lost it. Where has it gone? That's because I'm in the wrong place. I'm clever. I'm clever. I know how to work my phone. I'm great at technology. So, the clean, which is what I was using for my pedal board, people. If I was plugging my pedals into this, just using it as a pedal platform, I would just use clean. And because I get all my sound from pedals, that's what I was using. Clean is just clean. Yeah, I had the gain all the way up, but it's clean all the way to top. Sounds fantastic. Heaven for pedals. The next one up is a Fender Twin Reverb kind of model. It sounds suitably Fendery, but, you know, again, don't associate. The next thing up is called Tweed, which is supposed to be like a Fender Bassman thing. I love that setting, personally. To me, I've never tried an original Bassman, a Tweed 410, so I don't really know what they sound like. But I love the sound of that. It sounds amazing. Then you've got like an AC30 kind of copy, which is called Diamond. You got Crunch, which is an original kind of Boss sound. I think it's the Katana thing. I don't know. I think it's Boss Katana Crunch, which is amazing. You got a 1959 Marshall kind of thing called Brit. High Gain, which is, again, a Boss thing. A Soldano SLO 100 kind of copy thing. You know, it is what it is. EVH is EVH 5150, which is the brown mode. Modded, which is extreme gain. And Rectifier, which is dual rectifier at the end. So it is 11, isn't it? I don't know. It doesn't matter. You've got loads. And then you've got independent free band graphic EQ. You also have a dial called Ambience, a dial called Level, which does what it says on the tin, and a gain dial. And this is one of those incredible pedals that just remembers what you have it set to. You've also got two channels with the tube. So you've got a green channel and a red channel. And if you hold down the foot pedal, you can bypass the pedal, so it turns off altogether. But this is, you've got an effects loop, send and return at the top. You can come out in stereo. You've got output A and B. You've got an input here, and you've got a channel select in there as well, if you need it. On the back, you've got a USB thing in the back where you can record straight to your phone out of it, or updates and all that stuff that I'll never be doing because this pedal's just perfect the way it is. And you've got a headphone socket in the back as well. If you just want to practice with headphones, you can plug your headphones in there. Jobs are good. So, yeah, like I say, this pedal's really clever. So, like, say, for instance, like, on the clean sound I've got now, say I'm kind of like, oh, I'm not really a fan of this. And green isn't clean, and red isn't distortion. Green is whatever you want it to be. It can be full-out distortion if you want it to be, and red can be full-out distortion. It isn't green's clean, red's distortion. It's whatever you want it to be. It's just two channels. The colours are there just to let you associate whichever one. Anyway, that's it. And it just remembers. So you just set it and it remembers where you had it. It's so clever. It's ridiculous. I love it to bits. So let's get to my one negative about this before we get to sound examples. Ambience. Boss, why didn't you put a reverb in it? I like the ambience dial. I do. But why Boss didn't put a reverb dial on it? I don't know. That one weirds me out because I think about the acoustic simulator pedal that Boss released years ago. That's got a reverb dial on it. They have reverb pedals, Boss do, and they're amazing. Why would you not put a reverb pedal on it? Or have it so you have the option to have the ambience, which is basically just like gives you a room sound, which is good. Don't get me wrong. I do like the ambience. But why didn't they give you the option to have either? You know, like a little switch or something. So you could have the ambience or you could have reverb or both. You know, freeway little slider switch or whatever or something. I don't know. Oversight, in my opinion. And I think that will limit people buying this thing because they'll be like, well, this other pedal has got a reverb. I want a reverb, you know. And I don't have a reverb pedal or I don't want a reverb pedal. But yeah, so that's a bit silly in my opinion. I think for the entire video picture, I'm going to have the ambience flat out as well. I'm never not going to turn it down. I never have so far. I will show you actually. On the first setting, this kind of like John Frusciante dirty clean tone I got out of the pedal, I will show you the ambience first thing. But yeah, I think that's a bit of an oversight. My other negative is the it would be nice to maybe have an XLR output. I understand that's reaching, and I don't really care. But it would be nice to have an XLR output. I know it's massive though, XLR, so I don't think it would fit. I think I'd have to make the pedal bigger, and I think that's what it is. But I'm not bothered about the jack output. It sounds amazing. I don't think you're losing anything by not having XLR. It's just picky. Being picky. You know, because quite a lot of these kind of amp pedal things, they do have XLRs, but I don't think, you know, I'm not going to lose sleep over it not having one. But as a kind of thinking kind of like critically, if you will, about it, not to quote John Wolfe, I can see why some people would kind of want that. Me, I'm not that bothered. I'm just seeing it from other people's perspective there of kind of going, oh, I want an an XLR, sorry. You got IRs. Anyway, I love this thing to bits. Let's get into making some sounds. So what we're going to do now is, yeah, we're just going to unplug pedal board. We're just going to plug straight into the pedal. It's going to come straight, I'm going to plug my guitar straight in. What you're going to hear now is literally just the sounds of this. No pedals, apart from this pedal. Nothing else, just that. So let's get to it. Let's make some noise. let's run it for a PA and see what it sounds like. And I think for the PA section, I'm going to put it on. Well, I'm going to go back to the Strat, and I'm just going to put the camera on the room mic, because I think you kind of need to hear it in the room, not like, you know, DI out from the desk, because the DI out from the desk is going to sound exactly the same as what we've already done. So we need to know what it sounds like through PA speakers. So yeah, let's do that now. Okay, people of Tube, we have the Boss IR2 down there on my PA head through PA speakers. So I've gone back to using my pedal board for this, actually. Instead of just it being kind of like just a pedal, I wanted to, this is how I would go live. So it didn't seem to make much sense. You've heard how good this thing sounds. It just seemed a bit pointless, kind of like me demoing it for a full PA and not demoing it the way I would use it. You know what I mean? And how a lot of people will be using this thing as basically an amp away from their amp, if you will. So we've got the two PA speakers here. Got the Behringer PA down there. The only thing I've done EQ wise is I've cut a bit of the low end off. It was a bit too bassy, but that's kind of to be expected. You're always going to have to do a bit of EQing from the desk anyway. So, but literally, I've knocked the bass down from 12 o'clock, which is basically 0 on a PA desk because it's cut and boost. So 12 o'clock neutral, I've knocked it down to basically 10 o'clock, which is basically 2 notches, and it's fine. So I really like it. Let me know what you think. Yeah, so I'm just going to go through some sounds. I'm going to start with the Golden Plexi. I haven't added anything. All you're going to hear is the pedals. I haven't added anything from a PA. It is like I said, the only thing I've done is I've brought down the bass a tad, just because it was a bit too bottom endy. Wouldn't work in a live setting. The guitar would be just too boomy. It would ruin everything. So you might have to take it down a bit more actually in a live setting. I think I'd be tempted to maybe put it at about 9 o'clock, maybe. I don't know. Depends on how nice the PA guy was to me. Anyway, so what you're going to hear next is the room mic as well. We're not going to close mic these things. You're just going to room mic of these. It might sound a bit weird because of that, but hopefully you can get a good, a good approximation of what it sounds like, because it sounds good for YouTube. And what I said at the beginning of the beginning of the vid, about me taking this around as a backup, that's happening. I am putting this Boss pedal. Sadly, I can't put it on my board. But what I will do is I'll find a place for it in one of my gig bags or like somewhere, and just in case, I always take 2 amps to gigs, and that won't stop. I will always have to use an amp. But say for instance, like worst comes to worst, and I have to go to the amp cabinet Boss pedal. At least I've got it, and I know it sounds good for a PA. If it sounds good for this PA, which is good, I like my PA. It sounds good. But if it sounds good for this PA, it'll sound amazing for a bigger one with more power and more EQ control as well. You never know. On a big PA, you might not have to EQ it at all. Oh, to let you know as well, on the pedal, I have no bass. Again, I don't use bass on guitar. It just kind of like just defeats the object. Anyway, let's make some noise. This is the PA without the pedal. Ooh. Okay, there you go. That's the Boss Amp Cabinet IR2 pedal for a PA. I would happily gig with that. I think if I was at a gig, like I said, I still think I would bring down the low end a little bit more, just to like a tad a little bit more, and maybe cut a bit of the mids as well. The full range speakers in the PA, the PVPA speakers, they've got this kind of like, because they're a bit smaller, they're a bit barky. So if I was going through a speaker like this, I'd probably have like the sound guy, or if I was doing the sound, I would bring out some of the mids just to kind of let it cut a little bit more. It was a little bit boxy. It didn't sound horrible, I don't think, but yeah, I think I would do that. But I'd probably, like, you know, experiment. But this thing, good gravy lords, people. This is literally... This is a problem solver. This really is a problem solver pedal. I love it to bits. It sounds amazing. I love it sound with pedals. I love it straight in. I love it through a PA. I love it with the headphones. That's the back, by the way, people. Headphones sound, like I say, even if my crappy little Samsung headphones sound good, then, you know... I don't know. I really don't know what else to say, people do, other than like, yes, highly recommended by the Dave here. I really, really like it. I'm going to have to find a place for it in one of my gig bags. Because like I say, worst comes to worst, this is making the best of a bad situation. That's what this pedal could do. Also, like I say, if I had to do a gig and I was like, you know, the backline supplied was kind of like iffy and I didn't trust it, which has happened before, people. I've done a couple of gigs where you get a backline and it's like, yeah, I handmade this amp. You know, you kind of go a bit like, I don't know about that. And you like, you know, it's got like, you know, three legs and a wheel hanging off it. You don't really trust it. It gives you the, like, you know, the bonus of just going, oh, I'll just go to the desk. Just give me a DI box. You know, out of the output, into the DI, XLR to the desk. Jobs are good in. But then, you know, like I say, the downside of using an amp, a pedal amp, or like say something like a Kemper or something like that, straight to the desk, is like I say, you are at the mercy of the sound guy. Like for instance, like if I got to a gig and I didn't want to use the backline, or I couldn't use the backline, or there wasn't a backline, and it was like one of those gigs where you can't take your own amp or whatever. And I plug this in, and the sound guy goes, oh, I don't like your sound, because my sound is quite dark. I'm going to treble it up a bit. There's not much I can do. You know what I mean? He's got control over my sound, which is why I always prefer to use a guitar amp. Because if I know for a fact that if my amp sounds like I want it on stage, then, and it sounds horrible out the front, at least then I'm not affected by that. Whereas if this is the case and the sound coming at me out of a monitor is just horrible and harsh, because that's what the guy's, he's going, oh, there's not enough high on it, you know, I'll get rid of some of the bit, like scoop it out basically. Then I can't do anything about it, you know, and it is what it is. And that's why I always a bit hesitant to use these. But like I say, worst comes to worst, that's what I would use. I would use this. This is insane. And again, you know, not ridiculously expensive. Like I said, my only qualm is the ambient style. Why Boss didn't put a reverb on, I'll never know. I don't understand the thinking of that one at all. I don't think a lot of us understand the thinking of that one at all. But I do like the ambience. It does sound like you're just playing in a room, which is good. It's not like an ambience where there's like minimal, you know, there's nothing there to give it kind of space. It does actually, when you've got headphones in and you have the ambience cranked, which I'd recommend people with tube, is never have the ambience turned all the way down or at quarter, crank it. Just max it out. It does make you feel like you're in a room. It does give you that kind of small room ambience. It's really nice. It sounds like my room downstairs where I've got the Marshall double stacks. But yeah, other than that, wow. This thing's a beast. I absolutely love it to bits. Sounds amazing. On its own, it sounds amazing. You've got all the features. Yeah, like I say, you've got an effects loop if you want it. You've got an input channel select switch. You've got 2 outputs so you can stereo out if you want. Recording, live, practice, you name it. This will do it. My only other thing that I would say in relation to kind of like practice is there are other products out there like the NUX Mighty Plug Pro, which give you the ability to have something even smaller than this, practice with really cool sounds like this, but have the ability to link with the internet, so you can run backing tracks through the NUX and play along to backing tracks with headphones. Can't do that on this one, which again, I don't think that's what this is going for anyway, but because the Mighty Plug Pro is literally just a headphone amp. But you can do that with other NUX products like the Mighty Air and the Mighty Space, and you can do that with other NUX products and some other products as well. You can do it with the Boss new the Cube Street as well, where you can stream things into it. But again, I don't think that's what Boss are going for here with this pedal. I really don't. I reckon this is kind of a standalone thing. And for solo practice, if you just want to plug in and just kind of mess around on your own, job's a good one. And again, it sounds amazing. Again, even with pedals, it sounds amazing. Happily use it live, happily use it for recording, happily use it for anything. Just sounds incredible. I really, really love it. So yeah, thank you to Boss for sending me this, the RT. They're not getting it back. It's mine. That's all there is to it. What pedal? What are you on about? No pedal demo here. What are you on about? You're all gone mad thinking there's some kind of Boss pedal in this video. Anyway, PeopleTube, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought to a pedal in the comment section below. Yeah, and I will see you again very soon for another video. I've got to tidy up this absolute, this room is just like spaghetti now. There's just like leads everywhere, which is going to be fun. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this vid, PeopleTube, on the, on me sat here doing absolutely nothing. Goodbye now. Oh, and if you like the channel, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon, or going to listen to some of my music on my Bandcamp. Links to them are in the description box below. See you later. This has been a very boring nothing episode, hasn't it? Nothing happened. No demo here whatsoever. No demo. No demo. No demo. No pedal. No.